Let us deepen the last lecture and repeat the last lecture. The last lecture was about variables. What are variables? Variables are actually only placeholders for values. You can define a variable and then you can assign a value to this variable, or you can even assign a value to the variable while defining the variable. Variables are strongly typed in Java. That means that you have to specify the type of a variable first before you can use it. You definitely need a type of the variable, otherwise you cannot define the variable. And for example, this is made for the variable I here. This variable I gets an integer type, and then we assign 1 to the variable I. You are allowed to reassign a variable every time in your program. Everywhere you can reassign it. It's only a placeholder and you can put other values in the variable. So what variables did we get to know? We were introduced to the int type of variable. The int type of variable holds whole numbers. It takes up 32-bit in memory, and it's from about 2 billion minus to 2 billion plus. And we introduced the double variable type for floating numbers. This double floating numbers type already has double precision. It takes 64-bit in memory, and it's from this minus value to this plus value. It can really take up big numbers. And we introduced you to the string type, and this string type is for text strings. These three types of variables are very often used in Java programs, so I introduced you to these variable types first. But of course, there are other variable types in Java. These variable types are, for example, byte. A byte is only 8 bits, and it's from minus 128 to plus 127. So if you have little numbers, you can put them into bytes, and this will save you memory. But there's also a short type. It takes double of the amount of bits. It takes 16 bits, and you already have big numbers. Then there's in between the int type I already showed you, but there's also a long type, and the long type takes 64 bits of whole numbers, and you can get real big numbers in here. So there's also a single precision floating number type, and this number type has a less amount of values you can put in there. Often you also use a Boolean type. The Boolean type only has two values you can put in there, the true value and the false value. And I have to mention that often objects are assigned to variables in Java. Then the variable must be of the type or of the class of the object. We will deal with that later in the course, but we already have an object. A lot of things are objects in Java. The string type is actually a class, and a string is an object which is put in here.